Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Happy PharmD. In this episode, I'm so excited because we genuinely have perhaps the world's most famous pharmacist. Today, I'm joined with Ariel Tsai, who is a pharmacist, but she's not known for being a pharmacist because she is a famous singer in East Asia. She has hundreds of thousands of followers, millions of views on YouTube and across different social media platforms. And you may be thinking to yourself, Alex, this isn't about pharmacy. This is perhaps one of the most interesting interviews I've ever done about career transitions, because in it, Ariel shares her journey of going through pharmacy school and deciding that ultimately that wasn't the path for her. She wanted to follow her passion, her interests in music, and to make that into her life, her livelihood, her career. And she's done such a wonderful and amazing job. She shares so many incredible insights that are going to be so useful for you in your pharmacy career. And so rather than belaboring how amazing this was, I'm going to go right ahead and transition over to our conversation. So you grew up speaking Mandarin. Did you grow up in Canada, or when did you come over too?
Yeah, my background is a little bit more complicated. So I was born in Taipei, Taiwan,
Okay.
and then my whole family immigrated to Vancouver, Canada when I was 3 years old. So that was like 1998.
Okay.
And then I stayed there until I was 9 years old. And then because of family issues, our whole family moved back to Taiwan again.
Oh, wow.
Yes, but then after like 7 years, we decided to move back to Canada again. So it was like constant back and forth. And I didn't go to any like sort of international school in Taiwan. So it was really harsh for me to be able to keep up with the education, like the intensity and the pace and the language. But then when I moved back to Canada when I was 15 years old, I also forgot how to speak English. So it was like a constant, like, I felt like I was being thrown in like a very foreign environment every 7 to 8 years. But looking back, I think that was why I could speak both languages very fluently. And I think it gives me better insight of, the two very different cultures and how I should navigate and adapt and try to get the most out of like both worlds. Yeah, so.
Yeah, you can only grow really when you're thrown into pain. And that sounds like an incredibly challenging thing for a young person. It sounds like it's really shaped you, just who you are.
I think so. I think first of all, I've learned from a very young age that people come and go. I think it's a very harsh thing for a young kid, especially when like your friends, like they could be your entire world when you grow up. But I learned that from a young age that people come and go because I have to move so frequently. But I also feel like I've learned the ability to adapt really well and to be able to fit in any environment because I had to do that to survive.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
What led you to thinking that you would survive well in pharmacy?
Oh, that's a very good question. So I moved back to Canada when I was 15, and then during high school, we started learning more like biology, chemistry, and like basically all the sciences option. And I realized I really like biology, and I do well in chemistry too. So it got me thinking, oh, maybe like I can explore more like medical options.
Yeah.
And you know how in Canada, it's like for med school, you have to complete 3 years of undergraduate degrees. Right. So then I thought that before, like I was maybe I could be a doctor, but before applying to med school, maybe I could, try out pharmacy and see if it's something that I also like, because I feel like it is kind of connected in some ways. And some friends of mine are applying as well. So I was like, oh, okay, let's all apply.
Yeah. One or the other. Okay.
yeah. And it just happened so that also some of my friends are pharmacists, and I went to kind of like intern for a day at my friend's pharmacy, and I thought that being able to serve patients and help them in a meaningful way is quite fulfilling. And also I feel like, oh, that's something that I like to do, to be able to help people with my knowledge.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think a
Yeah.
lot of people make decisions like that, right?
Mhm.
They're
Mhm.
math and sciences. Their
Yeah.
parents probably drove them maybe a little too hard to succeed in school.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know about you, but for me, I did not want to become a doctor because I didn't want to do something that hard. I have to
Mhm.
confess, like I didn't want to work that hard to
Right.
make just a little bit more money and get a lot more stress and responsibility
Right.
and have to touch people, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
and grow stuff potentially. Like, not my jam.
Wow, interesting, interesting. Because for me, I've been thinking about what you said earlier about how people, like, sometimes parents push too hard, or they have a certain ideal of what this job could give them, either like maybe it's stability or
Mm,
status or like just money. And I do really think that most of my friends at that time, when we were thinking of applying to pharmacy, it is about the stability. Like it's not I'm kind of the odd one. I'm like, oh yeah, I really want to like help people, right? And then but like most of my friends are like, no, it's like, a pretty decent paying job, and like I don't know
yeah.
what else to do with my degree. Like what am I gonna be like if I graduate just from sciences? Or like or like I don't have a passion and this seems to
Mm.
work out and all my friends are doing it, then maybe I'll just give it a try. So yeah, I think most of my friends, to be honest, are like that. And I kind of just like also because my friends were doing it, so I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll like give it a try. Yeah.
So how did your job now develop during pharmacy school? Because spoiler alert, pharmacy is not what you do. Um,
Yeah.
so you built up a skill and a talent and decided to pursue that. So
Mhm.
what was like the buildup? Were you in music class? Did you take, piano as a child? What was that like?
Um, I I since I was young, I was very passionate about music. I think that was early on one of the just like earliest things that I could remember that I really liked doing. So according to my mom and dad, because I don't remember, when I was 3 years old, I would just like randomly sing or hum my own original songs. And then
Yeah.
at the age of 5, I saw a piano in some mall, and I begged my parents to take me to piano lessons. Usually it's the
Oh.
other way around, right? But I'm like, no, I want I want to learn piano. And I just kind of did everything out of my own passion. Like I started to learn to sing myself, and then I learned to sing and play piano at the same time. And then eventually it turned into me writing my own songs just for fun. I
Mhm.
think it was also like an emotional or like stress outlet for me, because it's back then moving back and forth. I think that was very stressful, and like I was very anxious all the time. So I think that was like an escape almost. So
Mm.
I found a lot of joy in doing music, and then gradually, like during school, like high school and university and pharmacy school, I just kept doing it. And if there's like any opportunity associated with music, then I would just 100% go for it. And so I did a lot of extracurricular related to music, and I think that built up my skills gradually.
Yeah.
And during like one year during like I think it was summer vacation, I just got really bored and decided to upload my music onto YouTube. And
Yeah?
yeah, and I like thinking back, I don't know like why I had that like impulse to just start uploading. Yeah, but I did that, and then because at that time YouTube was just starting to kick off in Asia, even though it had kind of been popular for a while in North America. But I think I was very lucky to catch that kind of YouTube trend in the beginning. And then so more and more people in Asia, specifically Taiwan, Malaysia, Singapore, they started to follow me, and then I just kept going. I just kept releasing, uploading. I did some live streams on Facebook, YouTube, and I didn't really expect anything to turn out like to be something more than just a hobby, but I just kept doing it because I really enjoyed it. And then there came a like turning point where I was like, oh, like should I just ditch pharmacy right now and pursue music? Because I was
When
at
did that thought first happen?
I probably like it didn't really happen. It was just in the back of my mind, like, oh, like I think life would be so much easier right now if I just drop pharmacy and like just do full-time music, because I was spending so much time doing music. And then you know how pharmacy school can get really stressful during the last 2 years, right? Because there's so many exams. And then I was like very burnt out because of the exams plus the music. I would like I was so crazy. I did live streams like every other day. So I would wake up at 5 a.m. just to match the time zone in Taiwan so that it's nighttime for the audience. And then I would like live stream for 2 hours, standing and just singing nonstop. And then after that, I would just like lay on the ground for 10 minutes just to take a nap. And then like pack my stuff and then take like a 1.5 hour like bus ride or like SkyTrain ride to UBC, and then do the whole like exams, assessments, labs, blah blah blah. And then that like it's crazy. Like I was like running on adrenaline all the time. And I did that for like an entire year, and that was when I felt like, oh, it would be so much easier if I could just like drop school. But I also was logical enough, like thankfully, not to do that, because I felt like I also worked so hard to get to where I am right now, like academically, and I didn't want to I didn't want to disappoint myself, because I felt like I'm so close to the end. And I also wanted like what if music doesn't turn out well, at least I have like a backup. So I just kind of pushed through until graduation and until I got my license. Yeah, so I did get my license, and then when I got it, I was like, okay, cool. Now I can like, just give music a try full time and see where it takes me. Yeah.
At some point in this conversation, I knew the sunk cost fallacy was going to come up. Have you heard of this?
No.
It's a belief that essentially says that you don't want to give up something because you've spent so long doing it.
Yeah.
And so the more people do something, particularly a job where they feel stuck, to just give up or to transition into something totally different feels like way too much of a burden. But it's actually a sunk cost. If you don't do the thing to get out of whatever your situation is, it's going to actually cause you more harm.
Wow.
I know that in Canada, rates pays different. But I know for a fact one of the top paying jobs right now in most urban areas for pharmacists is just being a retail pharmacist. 130 to 150K USD.
Wow.
But many people come to us with a high priority of, I need to make the same salary. And I don't want to do anything else. Because even though I have this passion for, I don't know, cryptocurrency, or actually, I just talked to a pharmacist at a conference who wants to start up a Smoothie King. Have you heard of that franchise?
Ooh, I think I might have heard of it.
Yeah. It's definitely marketed towards you. A lot of young females.
Yes.
Go there. Not a very manly place. Anyways, I was talking to her about it, and she was like, but I've spent all this time, energy, and commitment, blood, sweat, and tears to become this. When it was really clear, just for him sharing her passion, she should really just go do a Smoothie King. Like, she could always come back to pharmacy. So what I'm really interested in is your journey where you when did you graduate again?
2018.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So like 2016 to 2018, you're hustling your butt off.
Yeah.
You're waking up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Are you thinking to yourself, like, maybe this will work to like create that kind of drive and ambition? Because for me, that didn't happen until like my residency. So the year after I graduated, essentially, where I started waking up early and started building, something. I didn't know what.
Yeah. Yeah.
But did you have like this idea in your head of like, okay, this can be something? Or was it just really, you were so passionate about doing it that your passion kind of just led you into the activity? Or was it something else?
Well, that's a very good question. I think it was a mixture of both. I think part of me obviously expected that, I worked so hard doing music as well, and I spent so much time and energy that obviously I really wanted, hopefully, something to happen at the end that could motivate me more to, just, ditch pharmacy and do this full time. But yeah, because to me, like, my passion is definitely music, right? Like, it's like
Sure.
overpowering everything else. But like the logical me inside is like, hey, you gotta, chill. Like, what if, like, don't get your hopes too high? Because like, what if like it just doesn't turn out well, right? And like you like, yeah. But it was a mixture indeed of like both, like, oh, maybe it could get me somewhere, and also just pure passion of doing it. Like, I just enjoyed it. But looking back now, I gotta admit that part of it was also because back then I really enjoyed the feeling of growing, so like online on social media, and that itself is like very I think it's very addicting, like seeing your numbers grow.
Yeah.
And then maybe that was enough to motivate me, because I felt like, wow, like the more I do this, like the more followers I have, and I feel good and I want to like keep growing. And I think I'm just like a little bit more ambitious than most people maybe. And that gave me a lot of satisfaction and reward, like this rewarding feeling. So maybe that itself was enough to, drive me forward. Yeah.
I can relate to arbitrary numbers giving meaning when like it's it's not that big of a deal, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
I remember writing something and then finding out that like 100,000 people saw it, and I was like, ooh, that feels good.
Right? Yeah. It's addicting,
Yeah. Do you still feel that way now?
No, unfortunately, well, no, actually, no. Intuitively, yes. Like if I don't control myself, yes. But I think I've trained myself a little bit better now to not be so driven by just numbers and views and followers and likes. I think because I realized that's really not sustainable after, after all these years of being in this industry and this field. I just realized you burn out really quickly, and then your self-worth is like tied to like these things that like you can't really control, like even if you work super hard on it. And I realized that's really bad for my mental health. Like I need to discipline myself. So it's yeah, mentally it was tough, but yeah, I think now I'm at a much better place after years of just like, trying to balance this. Yeah.
So take us to your final year of pharmacy school.
Mm-hmm.
You're waking up 5 a.m.
Yeah.
You're going to rotations.
Yeah.
You're probably very stressed.
Yeah, super.
You're probably not taking the time to like reflect, meditate, think of
Yeah.
your future career.
Yeah, no time.
What was the buildup like to taking your boards, right? Your exams,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then like what was going through your head about getting a job? Because the conference that I just came from,
Mhm.
there was like thousands of students there and residents, and they're all thinking about, I got to get a job, right?
Yeah.
I have to start working. I got to pay off all this debt.
Yeah.
What was going through your head 2018, 2017?
Whew. I just remembered I was so overwhelmed every day by like being pushed by just the obligations that I set for myself, whether it be like pharmacy student duties or
Mm,
the music stuff that I kind of just really wanted to improve and grow on. Um, that I didn't really have time and mental space to think about like like what I could like what exactly I'm gonna do
mm,
for my career. Yes. I think I was just because at that moment I just felt like I just need to finish. I have to just finish my task right now, and then to me, that I'm like, and then I just need to get some rest, finish task, rest, finish task, and then but I think it's because I knew that if I do these tasks that I'm like in the present well, I know that it will lead me somewhere. It's just I just have to choose between the two paths that I'm trying to work on. And then so when I actually now thinking back, the last year of pharmacy, right before school started in September, I went to Asia for like a summer trip where I kind of tested out um, like trying to make music a full-time work just for those 2 months, like the summer break. So I kind of knew that maybe like after the summer break, I will start thinking about, oh, like, I'm just here to finish my degree, not really like looking for actual jobs. And
ooh.
then yeah, so I remember, okay, now it's coming back. It's been a while. But now it's coming back that like the last year of pharmacy, I think I like it like as time kind of passed, I knew more and more clearly that okay, I'm just here to finish school. And
Mm,
and I think most of my friends knew as well because I kept telling them that oh I do want to go back to Asia to give music a try. So but I still gave my best like for the exams and for just completing all the assignments. But I do remember that when people are looking for jobs, like my classmates, they're all looking for jobs and different opportunities. I think I was very laid back. And I also remember now we had like the retail rotation and also the hospital rotation, right? I think I got offered like an opportunity to intern with the hospital again after I did my residency with them. But I
mhm.
I I, I told the I told my supervisor like at the very end, I was like, oh, I think I might go back to Asia after graduation to be a pop singer. And then okay, I didn't say pop singer, but I was like to
Sure.
pursue my musical career.
Music, yeah, of
Yeah, and
course.
then I remember my supervisor was just like, "What the heck? Like what? Like, is that an actual job? Like, what do you expect getting from there?" It's like, "This is such a good opportunity. Why are you turning me down?" But then I'm glad that she understands. So it's just, I don't know. I had to have a lot of faith in myself back then. But
You certainly did. So it sounds like you revealed your secret identity during pharmacy school. It sounds like your friends knew, some of your preceptors knew. I was really curious about that because,
Mhm.
um, whenever I was working on my side projects, I felt like it was out loud in some circles,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
social media or entrepreneur groups. But
yeah.
in the world of pharmacy, I felt like I had to keep things hidden because I was
Oh,
like, I don't want them judging me or think I'm stupid,
okay.
for what I'm doing or what I believe in.
Right, right. Oh,
Um,
okay, I totally understand, I totally relate. I
so
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Because in the beginning, when I started music, even my own family was like, like, why are you wasting your time? Like, what are you doing? Like, we helped you get to
Yeah.
this level of education, and you're just gonna do music? Like, what is that? and then so like obviously my even my own parents like were like what are you doing? And then I could tell from my friends they were supportive, but they were also being kind of like, you know, not like they're not taking me as seriously. You know, it's just like, oh, it's just like a just like a hobby, like a lot of people also sing like when they're free, right? But I think they started to take me a little bit more seriously when they saw like my social media and my YouTube channel really growing. And then it's funny when like some of them started tuning in into my live streams in the morning. So like I will be live streaming and they'll be like, "Good morning, I just woke up." I'll be like, "Hey, see you later in school." Yeah, and then I think that's when they saw that, oh, like, you know, Ariel is doing this seriously. And then after like half a year, 1 year, because of how serious I was into it, I think my parents and my friends in pharmacy school started to realize that, oh, like, you know, this might go somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, you followed your dream path, really.
Yeah.
So in our program, we do career development paths. And most people ask us the question of like, I don't know what I want to do. I have no idea what's out there for us. And so we do a lot of exercises that are reflective and getting them to think really deeply about what they want.
Yeah.
And most people, we help them identify like 3 paths. There's the familiar path, which is like what you're doing now, but maybe a little different, maybe a better environment. There's the pivot path, which is like pushing you outside of what you know,
Yeah.
forcing you to face challenges and grow professionally. And then there's like the dream path. And I'm finding that pharmacists in general really appreciate security.
I think so. I really do.
And the dream path feels like it's huge.
Yeah.
For anyone that feels like there's a dream for them, I want to highlight something really smart that you did, which was playing it safe by going back to Taiwan, right? And practice for 2 months. I'm guessing there was a lot of external validation during that journey that made you see like, okay, I could make a living doing this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that was, that kind of really solidified like my, I guess, dream of like, oh, like I can actually do this maybe for a living. Yeah, or else it is very like, you know, like even now when I go back to Canada, I go through the immigration. The officer will ask me like, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" And then I'll be like, I do music." You know what the officer asked me? He's like, "Does it pay well? How well does it pay?" I'm like, "Excuse you," but like, like people don't take my job seriously. But I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Well, I mean, pretty much in any traditional culture, you chose a path that like is very, it's tagged with unreliability,
I think so. Yeah.
right? All it takes is one mistake and your career's done, kind of thing. And then you'll end up, you know, playing piano on cruises, which is not a bad life, you know. Anyways, the summer where you went back to Taiwan, what were some of the validators? And you don't need to share like specific numbers or anything like that, but was it money? Was it a kind of a gut check for you? What kind of told you this is my future? This is what I'm going to do?
Yeah. So when I went back to Taiwan that summer, I held a 2-day like mini concert with my fans.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was like my first ever time having like an actual like face-to-face event concert with my fans, because it, you know, I did it live stream, right? So it was always me against a screen, but that was really cool. And I realized I enjoyed performing. I enjoyed being able to interact with people, and especially people who like my music. And then like actually quite a few companies started to approach me in terms of, perhaps signing like a label deal.
Mm,
Yeah, and then I think my YouTube channel was growing very rapidly. Um, and so like I think at that time I had okay, I need to like I don't know how much that is. I don't know how to pronounce that in English because
that's
it's
okay. I
one
can translate later.
NYE. Oh, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 zeros. What is that in English? Like 10 million? 10,
10
no,
million.
is it 100 million? 100,
7 zeros is 10 million.
10 million?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I had like yeah, my YouTube grew over like 100 million actually. Eight zero.
Oh, wow.
100 million views. Yeah, and then
Wow.
so that's when like and then I got recognized a lot starting like at that time whenever I go back to Asia, and that made me realize, oh, like people actually know me, and maybe like I could do something with this career.
Uh,
um and and then that was when like the last year kicked in where I was also just gauging like, oh, am I still growing, and like are there more opportunities coming in. So I think, yeah, like maybe also a little bit of gut feeling, or like just me being biased, like wishing that I could do this and just like stepping out in faith. But I did feel like there were enough like, you know, like validation factors to make me feel like, oh, okay, I could give this a try. Yeah, yeah.
So what was the final pharmacy thing that you did? Was it like the exam?
Oh yes, yes, that was yeah the exam. I just finished the exam, and then peace.
Wow.
Yeah, I no, it's funny because like I finished the exam, but then I just deactivated right after. Yeah, but I still kept it. Like I still have
Yeah.
it. And I have to read. I think I have to renew it next year in order to keep my license without having to take the exam again. But it just
Yeah.
makes me feel secure, like if I
Right.
still have my
Yeah.
license.
Even though you're not going to practice.
I don't think so, and I don't think I'm capable now. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I quit my ambulatory care job in
Yeah.
2018. So like the same
Oh.
year you
Oh,
graduated.
okay, okay.
Um, I also renew my license,
Mm.
and I have no intention of practicing like ever again.
Yeah, I
Uh, it so, but the pain of having to renew
ooh.
is probably I think is what keeps me in the system. But
Oh.
I think I've come to terms with I'm not. I don't. I know how to make money. I know how to be an entrepreneur. I know how to do stuff. So it's like why pretend that you're going to be an AmCare pharmacist again one day? Like,
Yeah.
no, thank you. No,
Wait, so do you still have your license now then?
I do. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, 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 okay.
Um, yeah, I kept it just because in the beginning it was like job security.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But now, I mean, it'll be it's over a decade now that I've been doing like entrepreneurship stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
doing work on my own and running the business. So
Yes.
like I can't imagine stepping back into it either.
Right? Yeah,
It's that sunk cost fallacy I talked about earlier, where it's like
yeah,
I did spend a lot of time to keep this license.
I know. And I can I just jump ahead a little bit
Sure.
of my story because it's yeah, like very suitable for this topic because
Mm,
I actually like because then I went back to Taiwan, right? And I did this whole, music career for like 5 years. And I was very burnt out, to be honest, like after signing a record label deal, blah, blah, blah. And then it was last year when I was like, oh, I really need to go back to Vancouver, which is my home, for a break. And then because I was so burnt out to the point, I was like, whatever, like I don't care if I don't sing anymore, or like I don't care about like what I do in the future. I just need a break and I just need to go home. So
Yeah.
then I actually packed all my stuff and then like went back to Canada. And then when I was on that plane flight, I was even thinking to myself, like, you know what? Like, even if I have to go back to pharmacy, if that's what makes me happier and like healthier, I'm okay. Like, because
Yeah.
it's just because my like being a singer it's just it's very complicated. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this
Very
is like
stressful.
it's very stressful. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I just need some stability. And like, pharmacy is very stable. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I should just give it a try and maybe I'll find more joy and peace. And I just desperately really wanted a break. Yeah.
Mm.
And so when I went back to Canada last year, in the beginning I was like, I'm just gonna settle in, just give myself some time, and then I'll look into the pharmacy stuff. And then it
Yeah.
turns out that I never look into it again. I just still kept like going back doing music. I just gravitate towards music. And then so yeah, and all my friends are like, hey, I thought you came back to do pharmacy. I'm like, well, I guess the heart wants what it wants. So
Sorry to get your hopes up. Not
yeah,
coming
I
back.
know. My friend was so excited. She's like, oh my gosh, our hospital has like an opening. Can you like come and be my colleague? Like, please apply. I'm like, probably can't go back to that life anymore. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it was a really great strategic decision. You're very talented. You can't be a pop star and not have talent. But if you're constantly pushing, performing, constantly going without rest, it's going to catch up.
Yeah.
Was that your first like true break?
I think so, because it was so funny. Like being signed to a record label, you really don't have much say with your schedule.
Right.
So I even had to write down like I want 2 breaks in Canada in my contract with them. Like I'd be like, I want to take these 2 weeks off, and then the pandemic happened, so I never got to have those 2 weeks like written in my contract. And then so I was just working and in the same environment that I felt like was very draining and taxing on me, and I just couldn't take it anymore. Yeah. Yeah.
So the year after I quit, I was able to take off 3 months to do a sabbatical.
Oh wow.
My family and I, we drove around the whole United States, and we lived in a van.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
It was fantastic. And I got bored at points. And my coach now is actually helping me see that boredom is actually really, really good for the creative soul, because it forces, not forces, but it allows you to create space for the creativity.
Yes.
And so now I'm very professional about rest. Like I'm even though I don't really like tea, I'm starting to drink tea in the evenings because I use my voice a lot. I cannot sing. It's very
Maybe
funny.
you can try.
Well, yeah. Did you ever play Rock Band?
No.
You know what it is, right? Though.
Sorry?
You know what it is?
Yes.
Yeah. It was comical at best. But I've realized I need to take off time regularly just to let my mind rest.
Yeah.
Because what I've seen in myself is that if I'm working consistently hard for like 2 weeks or 6 weeks ish, I start spinning my wheels, creating the same things that I created like even 6 months ago. So I've just decided to take off an entire week every 6 weeks.
Oh wow.
Just to allow myself to do nothing, play video games, hang out with the family, drink coffee and lattes every day, and just like let my mind rest. Because I think one of the problems that for the careers that you've chosen and myself is that it's all encompassing,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like for pharmacy, which is, yeah, it is very stressful,
Yes.
but you can't work as a pharmacist at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you are, that's called drug dealing, right? But when you're an entrepreneur, a performer, your rest is just as important as the work itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
100.
if you're not, you're just you're running out, and eventually you won't have a job or a career doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have moments of like that kind of inspiration for you? You're resting, and then all of a sudden you have like that eureka moment.
Yeah, no, I like 200% agree with what you said because um like what I just said earlier about the burnout, I also felt like I lost motivation to make music and because I was just so
Mhm.
tired all the time, so drained. And
Yeah.
I didn't really even like the music that I was creating or what I was singing anymore. I just felt like, yeah, I was just kind of like, what am I doing? Like, why am I so
Yeah.
busy? Why am I like, I just don't like my life. Like, I'm not happy.
Mm.
And then so I made that big move to Canada. Like I remember it was really hard to like not feel guilty about taking a break, especially when you've hustled for so long
Yeah.
and for so hard. And I felt I felt so sad. Like like when I was taking like doing the move and I was like packing everything. Like I yeah, I just felt so sad. Like but I knew that it was the right thing and
Mm.
it was hard to push myself because like emotionally I'm just like oh it's so much easier to just keep going because I'm like it's like almost as if I was on autopilot and then I just keep doing the things that I've always been doing but I just knew that I couldn't like mentally and I just couldn't take it anymore so
Mm.
making that big move was like I think it was one of the best things I like best decisions that I've ever made because when I went back to Canada in comparison, Vancouver is a much boring place than Taipei. I think Canada in general is a much boring place than
Mm.
Asia.
Mhm.
But I love it. Like I love how like what you said, boredom really I think it's just I think our soul needs it, you know. I think boredom is underrated because it's necessary and I think we're also overstimulated just not only from work from social media for just everything all the info nowadays that I feel like wow like it was just very I don't even know, I don't very therapeutic in some ways when I went back to Canada I just found out that I had nothing to do. I was like oh I don't really know what I'm gonna do next like maybe
Yeah.
yeah maybe go back to pharmacy I'm just gonna take it slow I slept a lot and
Mhm.
I like caught up with some old friends, like my pharmacy friends, my high school friends, who are really like we were really close, and I did a lot of hikes, you know, Canada, yay, nature,
Mhm.
and that's when I realized that when I'm like fully recharged and rested, like I it just gives me like the motivation again to do the things that I love. And then I think at that point I was like my head space was like very clear. Like I was like I'm like recharged now and all I want to do now is just to write music again and like just, you know, share these songs with my fans.
Mm.
Yeah. And then so it was not like because before when I was just working, it was I just felt like it was I had to do it out of obligation.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was just kind of like passively responding to all the tasks. But
Mm.
after that rest, I felt like I was actively choosing again to do the things that I love. And it was with a clear purpose.
Mm.
Yeah. And it's amazing. Like I think it's just how rest and boredom really like helps with like you said creativity or just you know repurposing your entire like outtake like take on life yeah
Yeah. So, have you ever read anything by Rick Rubin?
mm, Such as, probably I need to know, like,
He's
specific.
the producer behind like a bunch of famous music artists like
Oh, I
System
see.
of a Down, I think a few rappers, if I remember correctly.
Hmm.
I think Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, okay.
Those aren't my
Oh,
that may look like my inner fan thing, but no. He talks about that idea of boredom being necessary to create.
yeah, yeah.
So on my weeks off, what I've been doing is I've forced myself to just sit in a chair
Mm,
because I, like you, I am addicted to dopamine. I love
yeah,
video games. I love beating people.
yeah.
Um, YouTube is fantastic. So,
Hmm.
and I love learning. But
Yeah.
I have found that sitting in there's a chair behind me. I sit in the chair and I literally either I start off meditating
Mm,
and then I just let my mind wander.
mhm.
And I've had so many ideas just happen in the chair because
Mm,
I'll create the space for it.
yeah.
Um, I wish the work system culture in
Yeah.
Canada and first world countries would change
Yeah.
to allow people to take breaks because
Mhm.
I think it's rare that I meet a pharmacist who doesn't at least have a little bit of burnout. Even
Yeah.
those that like love what they do,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe they get a week off a year.
Yeah.
But even then, like they're busy, they're running around, they're
Yeah.
going to Disney World, and they're not resting. They're
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
they're doing more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like 100%. My friends are always, they always, yeah. Is that common with pharmacists? All my pharmacist friends, when they have days off, they just pack it with like traveling. I'm like, are you not tired? Like, because if I don't have a day off, I just want to like lie on my bed all day. Like, I don't want to do traveling. It's so much work.
Well, I think most pharmacists are driven like you to get the
Mhm.
most out of life.
I think so.
And since it's their only day off, it's what
Yeah.
they're forcing themselves to do to
Mm,
recharge or
yeah.
enjoy what time off they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I think what's interesting to me about it is my so you were born like mid 90s, yeah?
Yeah. 1995. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, you are just at the cusp of Gen Z.
Yeah. Millennial and Gen Z. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Gen Z, I've interacted with like a few dozen students at this
Mm,
conference, and
mm,
I'm very encouraged by the next generation and how much they're trying to prioritize their well-being,
mhm,
their
mhm.
happiness, their boundaries
Yeah. Yeah.
um, in the workplace. And
Mhm.
my hope is that your generation forces legislation to pass so that people are just working 4 days a week instead of
Mhm.
5,
Mhm. Mhm.
because that's like old factory time, back from the 1920s when they were overworked and they were like, no, we're only going to work 40 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that set a precedence. But back then, no offense to them, they worked hard, but like they were pulling levers and picking up stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
As a pharmacist, you're working your butt off
Yeah.
for hours. You're making really tough decisions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, to do that 40 hours a week it's going to challenge your brain in a bad way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's repercussions.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
so now we're talking about something that's far beyond anyone's power.
Yeah.
But for you've gone on quite a non-traditional pharmacy career path.
Yeah. Like it's funny because I myself do this, I'm like trying the unconventional way. But
Yeah.
then when people ask about like, oh, if you have kids in the future, like what would how would you encourage your kid? I'm like, if they say they want to be a singer or be a musician or be some artist of sort, I would just like slap him in the face. like, are you really sure you want to do this? Because it's not easy. It's tough. But yes, I did choose the unconventional way.
If you could go back in time and talk to the younger you that had doubts about this, what do you wish you could tell her?
Well, that's a very deep question. I think I would tell my younger self that, wow, I would tell my younger self to not doubt myself as much, and not worry as much, and also to embrace the lows just as much as the highs. Because I felt like when I was in pharmacy and like in pharmacy school, well, actually, when I was just in school, like, since young, I felt like there's not as many lows. Like and I think things just kind of turned out to be pretty smooth sailing most of the time. Like, and especially like I could imagine myself that if I were a pharmacist, if I became a pharmacist, it would just, my lows would just probably just be like, some, not as impatient patient, like, some crappy customers, or like losing my job, then I'll just find another one, and that's okay. But I think choosing the unconventional way, there's a lot more unexpected lows that I felt like I was not prepared for, and I felt like I wasn't equipped with enough experience or knowledge to deal with it. But I think after these years of being in this field and trying this, I really appreciate the lows now, because I think they really helped me grow into the person that I am now, and I'm just really grateful for being able to mature, and I think I'm at a much better place now. And I think so, like, to my younger self, I would say that, just embrace the lows as much as the highs, and have more faith in yourself. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So you spend all this time and energy getting into pharmacy, and now, unless there's a song that includes drugs, which to be honest, I couldn't understand a lot of your songs.
Yes.
Do you sing about drugs?
Back then in pharmacy school, in order to memorize all the new drugs, I actually made a song for it, so that like I could hum the melody in my head during exams. It helps. It really helps.
I've heard this.
Anyway.
But not professionally, you haven't been singing about,
No. Yeah.
Got it. So you haven't leaned into that identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any regrets about choosing this path for yourself?
Like choosing music, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I have complaints, but overall, if I were to have the opportunity to make the decision again, I would not regret making the same decision again. Yes. And I think I live a much more fulfilled life because I chose this as my career, because I'm truly passionate about it, and I truly believe in my work, that not only gives me joy, but also gives my fans and listeners joy when they listen to my music, or even just like my story, like my journey of, choosing this path that's not easy. So I don't regret it. Yeah. It takes a lot of hard work, but I'm still going.
Good for you.
Thank you. Good for you too. You're so inspiring as well. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. I just got this image of how difficult it must have been for you to transition, because when I think of pharmacy, I think of professional, I think of guarded.
Yeah.
Not loosey-goosey, not even stifled, I guess is a negative word.
Yeah.
And when I think about, okay, Alex, you're passionate about music and you're going to become a pop star, you have to learn how to dance. And I was just, oh no, I couldn't do it. So I think what you have done is, I think, incredible from the standpoint of you gave up an identity,
Yeah.
and to deny yourself something of what you became, that's incredibly challenging. And so congratulations.
Thank
You
you.
you are the most popular person ever to be interviewed on this show. You are probably, in fact, the world's most popular pharmacist.
Well, I'm very honored. Actually, what you just said made me tear up. I think it's yeah, it's thank you for that. Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah, I definitely had a lot of tough times, like when I entered the industry, and people tell me that, oh, you're too like not like stiff, but like you're very logical, you're very rational, you're very guarded, you're not artsy enough.
Ooh.
Yeah, and like because I'm not trained that way, right? Like all my education has been like, we have to be very like precise and very logical and rational. And I think um, yeah, just now when you talked about like having to, deny my identity and something that I believed in also in myself, and something that I was proud of myself for so long, and now I have to give it up to pursue this. I think it was definitely very challenging because I felt like I lost a big part of my identity in the process of pursuing this dream as well. So I think now I'm better at like, like reconciling with just these lost and broken parts. But yeah, in the beginning it was like I'm like, who am I? Like, what am I doing? But
Yeah.
yeah, now I'm at a much better place. So yeah, thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you so much, Alex. Very honored to be here.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is very fun.
All
Yeah.
right. And have a good night.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day ahead. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Alex.
Bye.
Bye.
I had so much fun talking with her. That conversation could have been twice as long, and I would have loved every minute of it. There were so many moments, and I told her this off air, that like my gut just resonated with her in a strong. I was like, oh, I feel that. I also woke up at 5 a.m. to do what I needed to do to build this business. And I think that whether you are dreaming big, like becoming a pop star or a singer, or you just want to pivot into something new, or find something else that is familiar, maybe it's what you're doing now, but in a new and better environment, we would love to be a part of your journey. At the Happy PharmD, what we do is career coaching. We help you get into a job that you would love. We love doing this so much that it's our goal to help 10% of pharmacists get a job that's better, that treats them better, and that'll spark a change in the entire industry to elevate our profession. This is, it's my dream path. I love what I do, and we love helping pharmacists succeed in their lives and in their careers. If you would like to learn more, please check out our website, thehappypharmd.com. You can schedule a time to talk with one of our career advisors and create a little bit of a pivot plan for you to get into something new and different. Or check out many of the resources we have on our, like the application tracker, the salary guide that we do every year, or many of the career path information that we have. Thanks for watching this episode. Please like, subscribe, or give us feedback on what else you'd like us to cover on this channel. And I hope that you're having a great day. So until I see you in the next episode, stay curious and take care.